In today's video, I'm going to show you how to put together your I Am Stardust from paper sculpture. So obviously you need to have your poem done first and have that checked for grammar and punctuation. Then you also need to have your Zentangled star finished. As you can see, this is done. Then you're going to be also needing a piece of black paper cut to size. The first step you need to do to put this all together is to set your star down in the center of the paper, and you're going to just very lightly trace around the edge with a pencil. You don't want to press too hard. You should still be able to see the outline of the graphite on the paper. I don't know if you can see it on the video too well, but you can just barely see that. So you trace all the way around the outside edge of the star so that you know where to do the writing. The star is going to go in the middle and the writing is going to go around the outside edge. Now you have a couple choices. One of the things that you want to think about is filling up the black space left over on the paper with your poetry. I did mine on the other side so that you can see. I've got the star traced here, and what I did was I started on one corner and then I just kept going all the way around. I turned the paper as the poem continued, and then when I got back to the beginning, I just started a new line. So if I traced my poem, it would start here and just kind of continue going in like a spiral. I decided to do mine that way because then I knew that regardless of where the poem ended, it wouldn't leave an unequal amount of black space. So I've got this. And then the next thing I'm going to do is now figure out how the star fits on there exactly, because the stars aren't exactly symmetrical. So you might have to play around a little bit to see exactly the orientation where you had traced it. So there's mine right there. Next step is going to be to add a little bit of color to the black paper around where the star was. So I'm going to set this aside for a moment, and then I'm going to grab a piece of scrap black paper, and I'm going to do some experimentation. We've got a lot of different color of chalk pastel, so I need to find something that I like that is going to go with my design of the star and with the color paper that I used. So on this little piece of black paper, I'm just going to experiment with a few different colors to find one that I really like. Excuse me. I think I'll try to blend some of them too. You don't have to use just one color. You could use two or more to get it exactly as you like. So I think I've settled on this one at the bottom that blends white with violet. So I'll set these two aside. And then what I will do is trace around with these two colors right on the pencil line that I created. Hope you can see that. So I'm going to trace that pencil line where I made the star. With the chalk pastel. Since I'm using two colors, I'm going to put both of those colors down there. And I would go all the way around, but in the interest of saving time on the video, I'm going to stop here. After I've got a little bit of chalk pastel, then I'm going to take my finger and just sort of smear it so it looks like a blend coming into the writing. I'm a little disappointed with how this is photographing because I think it looks a lot more attractive in person than it does on the video. After I finish blending, then what I'm going to do is put the star back down, and then I'm going to attach the star to the paper. There is a little bit of instruction on how to do that attachment, so I'll show that to you now. The first thing that you need to do is fold the star so that it stays in a three-dimensional state. So what I'm going to do is, starting with the tip of each star point, I'm going to fold that. We call this a mountain fold when the paper comes up like the mountain shape if you look at it from the side. So I'm going to do a mountain fold on each tip. Okay. And I want to be able to attach this to the paper and still have it be three-dimensional. So I realize on the video it looks kind of flat, but if I push it down, I want to have it so that it stands up a little bit. So I don't know if you can see that on the side, but we want this whole thing to be three-dimensional when we're finished. So to that end, I'm going to make a little accordion fold support for the center that looks like something like this. You'll have some cardstock. So what I did is just very quickly do an accordion fold on this. And since I've got a small point here in the center to hold up, I'm going to trim it so that it's got one end that's small also. So that's how I did that little bit for the center. I'll take my pencil and I'm going to mark the center of the star again to make sure where to glue things. Okay. And so then I'm just going to glue down my support, my center support, where that center of the star is. And I'll put a little glue on the tip of it. And then I'll be able to glue that to the center of my star. So it's got a little support in the middle. Okay. And then I can gently push that down. And then I'm going to use just a tiny bit of glue on the edges, just at the end of each star point, to attach it. It's going to have a slight three-dimensional effect when I'm finished. We would say that this is a form of what's called relief sculpture. Relief sculpture is sculpture which is only slightly three-dimensional, but it is three-dimensional nonetheless. Okay, when you're all finished with the chalk and the gluing, then yours will be complete.